Hey everyone, Lance here. This is a continuation of my last water cooling blog video, but I'll put a link to that in the description below. Essentially what I've done in that, which I won't go into too much detail here about, is I changed up the water cooling loop in my PC back there due to poor cooling performance. And when I moved into my new place here, I had a lot of trouble draining the system beforehand. Now the loop has been improved, it's been running distilled water just shy of 2 weeks, and I'm happy that it's not going to leak, and I'm happy with the cooling performance I've got. So I've got some new goodies to go in the loop here. I've got the Mayhem's Blitz Basic Cleaning Kit. I've got some Cable Mod RGB Fusion Hybrid UV LED lighting. So that was going to be paired with the XSPC ECX Ultra Concentrate Coolant Clear. Now I ordered the Clear UV, but the retailer has delivered simply Clear. So originally my plan was to do the Blitz cleaning kit, and once that was done, put the lighting in and put the coolant in, obviously, but I'm going to put the lighting in first so I can light it up UV and confirm while this is still in the bottle to send pictures to the retailer that it is not what I had ordered, so I'll be able to show you guys that. So let's get in close and show you how it is now, and then we are going to go ahead, put those lights in, and you'll see what it looks like once there is some LED lighting in there. So I'll open this up, and it says it's a 60 centimeter kit. So we've got that 60 centimeter strip. I would have liked it to have been two 30 centimeter strips, but a single 60 centimeter will work. We also have in there that remote I mentioned, some little adapter pieces for the cable to connect to the strip, and then of course the cables. Okay, so it looks like you can connect 2 cables, or potentially you need to connect it at both ends, one for the UV and one for the LED. The Cable Mod strips are in, and it's set to just UV at full brightness. You can see here the cables for the graphics cards have that slight glow that you get from UV lighting, and when I turn on the LEDs you get even more lighting in there still, but with it off it's got that nice glow. Now I've checked the product code of this coolant, and the product code is different on this bottle to XSPC's website for the UV coolant, but interestingly enough, putting it under that UV light, you can kind of see there's a slight glow to it, but comparing it to a picture of what a bottle of the UV coolant looks like under a UV light, it's significantly less glow. So I'm going to need to get these back to the retailer and swap them out for the correct product that I ordered that wasn't delivered. And I figured out how the strip works. There is a connection at each end because they are daisy chainable up to 3 meters, and the cable that splits off is to have multiple strips. Something I really like about this is it's magnetic. So I can simply pull it off, stick it back down, finger in the fan there. So it's magnetic, but it also has pre-installed 3M adhesive on the back. So I want to show off how well that drain loop that I set up in the last video is working on here. So let's get in close and get to draining. The lid's off the case. I've got my drain tubing here into a empty bottle, and I've also taken the fill port plug off the reservoir. So if I open this drain tap, the reservoir is draining away nicely. That top piece of tubing is draining, and that has drained. There's some air bubbles, and we're getting a decent amount of the system draining. That's already better than before. Now, in my last video I talked about the fact that this EK radiator also has plugs on the top. So I'm going to remove one of those plugs, allowing air into the system and then even more of the coolant is running through into here and draining out. So now this piece of tubing at the back, front, from the CPU and the GPUs are all draining into the reservoir and out this tap. Obviously there'll still be some distilled water in the radiators, and there is a little bit settled at the bottom of the CPU block. No doubt it'll be the same in the GPU blocks, but it's drained enough for me to start running that Mayhem Blitz kit through. Now there is some safety equipment included with that, so I'm going to get all set up and ready to put that in the system, ready for the ultimate clean. The kit comes with some pretty gnarly safety gear, some goggles, rubber gloves, and this tube of the cleaning solution. Also a small measuring cup. So 25 mils of this, milliliters, will mix with 975 milliliters of distilled water. I have a measuring cup which goes to 600 mils, so I'm going to halve those two quantities and do it in portions. So I will measure out 12.5 mils in here, give or take, pop it in here and fill that up with distilled water. Now I'm going to keep this gear on and fill it until the system is full. Then the instructions say to run it for between 12 and 24 hours. So I'm hoping that I'm not going to make any mess, because I'm assuming this stuff is going to do some serious damage if I do spill it. I'm a little bit blasé with distilled water on its own and even with coolant, but there's goggles and gloves for a reason. So let's pop that in there. See, we can see this is getting quite foamy in this piece of tubing. So it's looking very, very murky here. I don't know if that's because of dirt, like I said, or it's just the cleaning solution. But essentially it's got to be left running for the next 12 to 24 hours like this. I've disconnected the other ends of these and I've jumped the 24 pin. So the lights are on because that is still connected, because they're new and I was kind of just excited to look at them really. But we'll be back when this is to the next point where I need to drain it and then run the system for an hour with distilled water, and that would need to be done 3 times. It's now the next day and I've drained that Blitz cleaning kit. I was going to show it, but there wasn't really anything noteworthy there. It just simply looked like I was draining some coolant. The only thing I did notice is, it may be hard to see on camera, but it is quite blue in the bottle that I drained it into compared to regular distilled water, which is a lot more white. It's hard to tell on camera, but side by side, it is a lot more blue. There wasn't a lot of debris or anything like that in the loop. That could be because I did clean the components beforehand, but I've got the first fill of distilled water in there, which I've just bled all the bubbles out of, and I'm going to leave it running for about an hour. I need to do that a total of 3 times. I may do it a 4th time as well. As strange theme with this build, everything I've bought has either been wrong or has come incomplete, and the pH testing kit that the pamphlet seems to refer to, or the manual seems to refer to, can't be seen anywhere. No clue why. These aren't from the same retailer. I think it's just bad luck on my part. So I'm just going to do that extra flush of distilled water, and it's not going to hurt anyway. And I do still have to wait for my replacement UV coolant to arrive. Right now the loop is on its 4th run through of distilled water. On the 2nd one I left it overnight, and on the 3rd one I left it for a full working day while I was at work. This also arrived today. The retailer sent me this out on an overnight courier with a prepaid courier bag to send back the 2 incorrect ones. So I thought that was pretty good from a customer service point of view. So this is the ECX clear UV coolant this time, and you can see the glow there. It glows very, very nicely under that UV light. It's now at the end of the 4th fill of distilled water in the loop now, so I'm going to drain that and then I'm going to mix up the coolant ready to go in. So I simply need to open this drain tap and then I just crack this little fitting off at the top here, and that allows air in and out and all around. This measuring cup, by the way, is just simply from AliExpress, and it was about $9. It's got the electric measurements on the back there, as well as temperature, which is nice. Not needed for me, but it's nice to have. And then I'm going to fill this to the 500 mark, so essentially halving the quantity in that bottle. 505 milliliters. So I'm not worried. And then I'm going to start the pump, and that's going to start circulating through. I'll switch it off. I don't want the water level to get too far below that drain back, because it will create a vortex in the coolant and then that will just be sucking air into the pump. What I've actually found is that the bubbles that are coming through here will come through that drain back tube, and some of them will make their way back into the pump and circulate through the loop. So that will eventually equalize after a little bit of time. I've filled and drained the loop several times now, so I know what to expect in those regards. So even just multiple flushes with distilled water can help you prepare for what the final result might be. I've got the lights off, but you can kind of see that starting to get the effect that I'm aiming for. It does look a little bit blue, but it is very foamy from filling it. It's not quite clear again yet. So I'm going to let it run, let the coolant bleed for a little while, and then we'll come back once it's all stabilized and looking normal. This ended up being a lot longer than I expected. I got just really into playing a few games that I hadn't been able to play due to temperature issues. GTA 5 being one of them, which I've got running behind me. It's right at the start of the campaign because online seems to be down, I don't know. But it's been pegged at 99% usage on both GPUs, and it's currently sitting at 62 degrees Celsius on one card and 61 degrees on the other card, while the CPU is at 66 degrees Celsius according to Rio Tuner from MSI Afterburner. I'm so happy with that. Previously they would all be in the 90 degrees Celsius range. So after this experience, I really cannot stress enough, keep your loop clean. I'd never cleaned any water cooling components or my loop before, and it's simple enough to do. And yeah, I got components second hand, the GPU blocks were second hand, and I really should have done it then. Now it's all done and I've improved the loop order. My system is not only quieter, it's cooler, and the room I'm in doesn't have much ventilation, so summer coming up soon, that is going to be a godsend. I've got a slight overclock. I've got 100 megahertz on the GPU cores and 400 megahertz on the memory, and just maxed out the power limit. Pretty crude and quick, but I was never able to do that before, so I am so happy to just squeeze that last little bit of performance out, especially when I'm probably due for a component upgrade pretty soon too. After this experience, I really cannot stress enough, keep your loop clean. I bought my GPUs second hand with the water blocks on them, and just out of excitement, I never cleaned any components, just whacked them in the build and away I went, and I never ever had good performance temperature wise, which has that trickle down effect onto in-game performance and that FPS hit that you'd see. So I'm happy that I can now overclock and play games that I just had been missing out on for so long. With the UV strips included in the cable mod kit, that one 60 centimeter strip wasn't quite enough, so I ordered a second one. So now I've got a strip that runs along the top and down the side and down here and partially along the bottom. So almost the entire perimeter of the case is covered with those lights. The UV glow, I really do like. I love that when the machine is off or all the lights are off, like so, it just looks like water or distilled water in the loop, and I can pop the UV light on. You get that slight purple glow of the black light, and the tubing and reservoir glow a very slight or very light blue type color. I quite like it. I would have liked it to be more white, but I guess there's only so much that can be done there with the light being purple. And I quite like then switching on a red light which blends with the purple of the black light, giving it a kind of neon sign, kind of Hotline Miami type vibe. I don't know how easy it's going to be to see here. I'll probably have some sexy B-roll with the lights off running, just so you can see it all, but that's about all I wanted to cover in this video, guys. Mostly just a PC update vlog for anyone interested in kind of my PC building journey. That's about all I had to say in this one today, guys. It was just a little bit of a build vlog, really, nothing too informative. I do really like the products that I've used in this video, and I definitely recommend them to anyone. The Mayhem's Blitz kit really worked wonders with cleaning my loop. I love the idea of the UV coolant and that thermal take reservoir that I installed in the last video. I'm really in love with in this build. I do thank you all a lot for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see what else I get up to in my free time, check out my Instagram and Twitter. I'll have links in the description down below. And hey, I'll see you in the next one. And stick around if you want to see some sexy B-roll of all that lighting. Now, I'm looking.
I'm on it. Okay, I found this on the web for considering my performance in GTA 5 run.